What comes to mind when you think of home? Could be your favorite restaurant surrounded by friends, maybe your favorite place to get away with family, your house surrounded by your favorite people, or the football field. This is my home. When it comes time for you to find yours, the only team I trust is Southeast Mortgage, the official home loan lender of the Georgia Bulldogs.
Taking the time to put this together and having a great original semifinal game there at the Peach Bowl, and now headed to the national championship. Our kids are really excited and ready to head out to Cali, which we'll be doing later this week. I'm looking forward to the opportunity. I got a lot of respect for TCU and their program and Coach Dykes. What a tremendous job he has done there. Had a great fortune of seeing him and Max out at the Heisman Trophy ceremony, and just have so much respect for their program, them as people, and what a great opportunity it is to play in a large setting, in a great setting for a CFP national championship.
Ross? At this time, we'll take questions. If you would like to ask a question, please press *1 on your telephone keypad now, and you will be...
Your hand has been raised.
Please be prepared to ask your question when prompted. Once again, if you would like to ask a question, please press *1 on your phone now. One moment while we gather the questions. And our first question comes from Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports. Please go ahead, Dennis.
Thank you. Kirby, you probably know there's a record number of points scored in those semifinals. With the playoff bracket being expanded, do you see any evidence of guys, even at this point, just being tired? So what do you react to that?
I don't know how to pinpoint it. I don't know. Traditionally, the teams that are in these games are, they're pretty good offensively, but you'd like to say they're also pretty good defensively. But I think the studies and numbers indicate that as the season goes on, and especially these semifinal and final games, scoring has to be going up. What that is, I can't really pinpoint it. I don't know that I would say it was just being tired, because you could say that's relative to offense as well, that you can get tired. You can get tired on defense, but I certainly think it's hard to play quality defense anymore, because I know we try really hard here, and I know they do at TCU as well. Joe Gillespie does an unbelievable job, their defensive coordinator, and it just seems that tackling becomes worse as the season goes on, and there's more scoring, but I don't know why that is. I've been a part of some unique national championships with the LSU Alabama ones, the rematch that was lower scoring, but outside of that, I've been a part of a lot of shootouts.
You've been through a 15-game season. In the back of your mind, have you ever thought about what it's going to look like with 12, where they could play 16 or 17?
I really haven't thought about it, because I know that's coming down the road. But at the end of the day, the gap, the space between the last game in the conference championships and the semifinals probably bothers me more than anything else, because I think you lose a rhythm there. So I don't know if it's the total number of games as much as it is the layoff in between. And if it was continuous, I'm not saying you wouldn't see higher scoring. You probably would see higher scoring, but I don't think it would be as bad of some of the performances.
Great, thanks.
Our next question comes from Mike Griffith from AJC Dog Nation. Please go ahead, Mike.
Kirby, I know you've taken a look at TCU. Can you kind of give us a Crib Notes version of what makes TCU unique offensively and defensively? And I know it always comes back to players, but they do play a 3-3-5 that we don't always see, and obviously Coach Dykes is revered for some of his offensive strategies.
Yeah, they got a tremendous team, a tremendous program. He's won everywhere he's been. He's done a great job. Their kids believe. They have, I feel like, just reading and listening about them, a lot of similarities to our kids in terms of the culture created there, the way they play, the way they believe. I think I saw a stat, they have the most comebacks in college football, in the fourth quarter. And that shows what your mental makeup is. Their conference, they've been in a lot of tight ball games, and they've won those type ball games, and done an incredible job with what they do. And they create really tough situations defensively, do an incredible job on special teams, have one of the best returners that I've probably ever faced in the return game, and score a lot of points on offense with a Heisman Trophy candidate quarterback. So it's a recipe to be playing for a national championship.
Our next question comes from Michael Cunningham from AJC. Please go ahead, Michael.
Kirby, one element of TCU's offense is they throw a lot of passes, at or behind the line of scrimmage and use those to move the chains and also get some explosive. What challenges does that present to your defense with that element of their offense?
Well, I think all of college football is that way. More of the game is played on the perimeter. It's not unique to just TCU. They also throw the ball vertical down the field, and they have a lot of size outside. So they can cover you up on the perimeter game, and they can launch shots, and they hit a ton of big plays throughout this year.
And also with Dugan, he's completed a lot of passes this year when they're behind schedule. I know he gets a lot of notoriety for his running ability, but what have you seen from him that allows him to kind of make those plays when the down and distance isn't favorable?
Well, he's got great players to do it with. He understands defenses. I think he's very smart. There's no defense he's going to see that he hasn't seen before. You're not tricking an experienced quarterbacks. Very similar with Stetson. You gotta do it better than they do it. You gotta out execute them. There's no tricking them, and he does a tremendous job of that. They have a system to allow him to manage that and to get back to third downs where you got a shot to convert them.
Our next question comes from Bill Bender from the Sporting News. Please go ahead, Bill.
Thank you. Kirby, good afternoon. I know you made a Coolham Luke reference to Stetson over the weekend. But in the fourth quarter, he has been on point, a huge rating, no interceptions. What have you seen in his evolution that's made him so good in crunch time in the fourth quarter?
I think it's his mental disposition. I think he doesn't think of the moment any different than the first quarter from the fourth quarter. He doesn't feel that. He is a processor. He is a deep thinker. He just goes through the process of what he's going to do and doesn't let it affect him. He's never real high, never real low, which I think is a great trait for a quarterback, and I think that helps him in the fourth quarter to be able to go execute. He has a lot of confidence. I think his coaching staff does a great job preparing him to be in those moments.
And our next question comes from Chuck Carlton, Dallas Morning News. Please go ahead, Chuck.
Yes, Stetson. I was just curious. You and Max got a chance to spend a few days together in New York for the Heisman ceremony. Did you have a chance to get
Chuck? Yes. I'm sorry. Stetson's not on yet. This is just Coach Smart. I'm joining in a few minutes.
Yeah, my apologies on this. Jumping the gun. And since I'm on here, I might as well take my time and ask Kirby a quick question. Kirby, as you look at the rosters of the two teams, they've been built a lot differently. You've got blue chip after blue chip recruiting classes. TCU has some kids who maybe had very limited offers. I guess as you look at their talent and their roster, what stands out to you about that? And are there different ways, I guess, to build a better mousetrap in terms of recruiting?
Yeah, I never look at it through the perspective of a lot of people look at it as it's all about, what your kids were rated when they came in. Coach Dykes inherited a lot of those players and got some, through the portal and things, but you got what you got, and what you do with what you have is what makes you a coach. And he's done a tremendous job with the players that he has and has inherited, and I feel like we've done the same with the ones we've gone out and recruited. So I never get too caught up in how it was built. it's kind of like, okay, you gave me my mold, and now I've got to try to go make something out of it. And you do the best job you can with what you got, and that's what you focus on. It's all at the end of the day. Everybody gets into all those ratings and all those things over and over again. It's about the chemistry of a team, and I would venture to say that these two teams probably have some of the best chemistry across the country.
And our next question comes from Chip Towers from AJC. Please go ahead, Chip.
Yeah, Coach. Educate me if you need to on this, but Arian Smith, obviously he had a big game, but and I know he's played in the slot a good bit, but it seemed like he was much more involved in all the motions and things that you guys run. Did you guys redevelop a role for him during the break? And specifically, obviously, Ladd's still banged up, so I guess I'll also use this opportunity to ask you to update us on his status and those other guys that were banged up in the game.
Yeah, I don't know if I know exactly what you're asking. Arian has developed through not being injured. His role has increased probably with every week this season. It may not have always shown that way in the stat line or in the number of snaps played. I don't think you guys can evaluate it that way because you don't see what goes on at practice for 5 days. So he has grown and developed and gotten better and better and better, and he really just got more opportunity to do what he's been doing. I wouldn't call it a redefined role. It would be an opportunity because of Ladd's injury, and we didn't know how long or how hard Ladd would be able to go. Ladd felt good, looked good in warm-ups, and was able to go and play, and we're hoping he's going to be even better this week. But we had to have somebody ready, and you can imagine over 28 days of preparation, there's a lot of days that Arian was repping and doing things because Ladd wasn't able to. And as we got closer and closer to the game, Ladd was doing more and more. So it was a balance between the two, and we had a musical chairs, and most people do because people have injuries at the wide receiver positions. But between AD, Marcus, there's been a lot there, and I think B-Mac and Coach Monken have done a tremendous job of slicing and dicing those roles.
How about Darnell and Warren and Chaz? Can you update us on their injury status?
Yeah, we're hopeful to get all those guys back.
And our next question comes from Barrett Sally from CBS Sports. Please go ahead, Barrett.
Hey, Kirby. I was actually going to ask about Darnell, Warren, and Chaz also, so no worries here.
Thanks.
And our next question comes from Paul Newberry from the Associated Press. Please go ahead, Paul. Paul, are you there? Is your line muted? Paul, are you there? Okay, we'll move on. Our next question comes from Seth Emerson from The Athletic. Please go ahead, Seth.
Kirby, the 335 of TCU, how instructive does that make the Mississippi State game for you all?
Say again?
The TCU's defense, and that the 335, how instructive is the Mississippi State game thus for you all?
Not really at all. They're not. Mississippi State's very different. They're not really 335 compared to these guys.
In what sense?
That's not the same structure. It's not the same looks that they provide. There's different coverage structures. There's different elements to it. There's different personnel groupings, different techniques within inside, different styles of play than those guys.
And our next question comes from Heather Dinich from ESPN. Please go ahead, Heather.
Just wanted to check logistical question, make sure that everyone you're expecting to go is going in the 2 deep, that no one is going to miss the trip for injury or other reasons.
We'll be taking the whole team out there.
Thank you.
And our next question comes from Jordan Hill from Dogs 24/7. Please go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah, Kirby, with that last drive on defense, you guys had a lot of freshmen on the field, Marvin, Jalen Walker, Malachi Michael. Just how big were those freshmen, their contributions, especially toward the end of that game?
Well, they didn't actually do what they're supposed to do every play, so the contribution can be either positive or negative. I wouldn't say it was negative, but I wouldn't say it was positive. I would say it was a lot more neutral. So they're out there because they give us the best chance to win, but some of them were out there due to unforeseen circumstances and injuries, and we don't make excuses around here and talk about injuries and these problems, but we've had our fair share, and nobody feels sorry for us, and don't want anybody to. But we have to get those guys ready to play at a higher level, and you can make a case that's a great thing. There's 4 or 5 freshmen out there. You can make a case that's not a good thing. It's all about how they perform and how they execute.
Coach, thank you very much for your time today. At this point in the call, we will pause for a moment to transition back over for